Telling truth in all things. Delivered by Source through Rene Avery, Messenger. We stand in truth in all things. We are telling what we are hearing and knowing. There is within the universe that which causes one to wonder who and when, to seek and to become. This series is to be aware and discover your place within yourself. It is an investigation into reality and where to go with it. This series is on the significance of 2012, the challenges and changes. It is presented by the Los Lunas Dowsers Association. Part 2, Becoming Aware.
For mass consciousness, is there going to be some sort of a sign, an opening, so that other people actually get a chance to literally come on board? They can come any way they want to come on board, but one of the ways that people have been waiting for them to come on board is for them to actually visibly show themselves.
I hear your passion. It's incredible. Keep it up. However, so here, let me ask you something. Why do the people on earth need to understand about them if they're not ready? We're all ready in our own time, like you were. So it's not important. No. It's not important, period. And the reason is all of us in our own time, in our own space, and even if this place blew up, they're not over. Dance to another planet and go do it over there. We are in an infinite universe that supports us all for where we are. And if they all landed there and they're not ready, they wouldn't see them anyway. You would, they wouldn't. Is that going to make a difference? Yeah, if you're standing up and down, dancing and going, hey, buddy, and they're standing off the side and see it, they go, wow, something's there. Do you see? It's all about us being who we are in this moment, and there's no division. Truth is truth is truth is truth, okay? And we all get there sometime. And so it's really important in 2012 to understand, there's going to be a division in where people are, but that tends to happen anyway. Look at your friends. Why are they your friends? Because we're really buddies. It's the same thing with the earth plane and the universe. And at different times and in different places in our lives where we are understanding a truth, do you ever notice that if you go to a truth before your friends do, they all go, oh no, look what she's doing, oh no. But Gwen's standing over and she's going, come on over to my house, let's talk about this. All of us have our own way of being and path. I'll give you 3 universal laws for all of you that I was given, and once they were given to me, I started straightening up some of the craziness. The law of love, which means to recognize God. The law of non-judgment, which means God only would judge, and God doesn't judge because God's loving. We don't judge. That ties us into knots. So we look at it and we go, God bless you, and we go on about our lives, We don't get into that stuff because it takes our energy away. And the law of free will. Remember those 3, and guess what happens to you? Man, you start cruising. And now what's happening is we're getting into the living of it. And you'll know where to be safe. You will. And so not to be afraid of it, but what we're doing now is activation. Then was the recognition of the opening, now is the living within. So, you're all safe. And even if it did blow it up, you know what? I talk to people on the other side all the time for people who had transitions. I'll be with you in just a second. Transitions, and they're really, they're sad because maybe they had things they didn't finish with them or whatever. There is no ending. There is just no ending. So to be afraid or frightened of the universe, you go to your own dowsing and find out. Take your own authority and use it for that, and not to get into the craziness. So I've been watching this 2012. Did you know that Denver, the airport up there, they used to have military installations underneath? Now they're building condos for people so they can go through this thing. And he went, it's all underground, and they got a little bit of glass stuff up at the top. And I thought, if we all disappear, how are you going to grow your vegetables? Where are you going to get your water? And they're selling those things for buku bucks. 2012 is not about disappearing. It's about growing, loving, being present with, being with Mother Earth in her transition. Talk to her, love her. She's incredible. I'm surprised she didn't shake us all off already for all the stuff that goes on. You know, like we got the Mideast going now and some craziness there. Say your prayers for it and stay out of it. Don't give energy to it. So that's one of the things.
What about crop circles? Are they messages?
They're messages to you from outside of love. Did you ever notice that when they straighten up, there's not one straw bent or broken? Why would that be? If they were terrible and they were doing weird stuff out there, there would be broken stuff all over. There's not one piece of harm after they finish that.
How can we become aware of the messages? How do you know what's true and not true?
How many of you heart dowse? Do you know how to heart dowse? Okay. And you know how? You can get absolute truth. When you do dowsing, you make sure you ask a question straight and to the point, because you will get exactly what you ask. I had a woman, as an example, come to my office one time, and she said, "Am I ever going to have children in this lifetime?" And I heard no. Well, she went to the doctor after that, and about 2 weeks later, one of her best friends was there at my office, and she said, "You know, she's really pissed at you." I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because you said she wasn't going to have any children this lifetime." And I said, "She's 37 years old, lived with a boyfriend for 5 years, never had birth control, and the first time she gets pregnant, minute she found out she had an abortion." I said, "You tell me. You tell me. Do you think she's going to have children with that attitude?" And that's what higher guidance was saying. No. Okay, now take a look. If you were dowsing and you said, "Am I going to have children in this lifetime?" and you said something like, "Well, I want children later, but not now. And so, am I going to have them in a lifetime?" No, that's not what I mean. What I really mean is, what are you going to get? You have to be very exact. I suggest for those of you who are beginning, you get a little notepad, you write down your question, because a lot of times you'll find out when you're wrong, it's because you've got a double question going on, or it's not exact. And it's a good tool, because if it's not right, you go back and check where you wrote that down and see if you've asked a double question. How can you answer yes or no if you've got two? And sometimes it'll swing back and forth, go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Generally speaking, when you get an answer that is not correct, whatever is happening, like, "Will my dog die within the month?" and you get no. Well, take a look at it universally. Dogs don't die, we don't die. You didn't get a wrong answer.
Does your real self merge with the universal mind in dowsing?
It depends on how you're dowsing, whether or not what you're asking is something that can be answered, and your energy and where you are. Okay? Sometimes we do have guardians and teachers, and sometimes we go direct. It just depends where we are. If my energy is really, really down, God may send a messenger to help me because my energy is not high enough to connect with God. Okay? That's why I say when anybody comes, you say, if you're sent from God, okay, and if you're not, go away. And if your dowser stops, you say, "Thank you very much." Okay? So yes, you can get a teacher or a guardian. We all have teachers if we want them. And you ask they be sent of God, or you don't accept them and they'll go away. That's one way. It's called testing of the spirit, and you keep stuff straight like that. There was somebody channeling ETs, and I had been asked by the store to come in and do some work once in a while with their people from the store. And I went in, and the proprietor said, "There's a man back there, and he was lying on the couch channeling ETs." And she said, "Is that real?" And I asked and was told no. What had happened, he'd gone to sleep, and as he was waking up and he came up through this, how we kind of wake up like this and then come back in our bodies. Well, about halfway between there, we're very intuitive. And do you ever notice you can hear things, people talking and that? Well, he had come up through that, had not gone totally through it, and somebody started talking who told him he was an ET. And this guy remembered it. Well, it was a non-transitioned soul playing fun. It was telling him all this kind of stuff. He was like, His spaceship was made out of bubble gum, but nobody really knew how good bubble gum really was. So therefore, when you see bubble gum, don't, and he's going all this stuff about this, but everybody's going, wow, we didn't know that. And I was told it was a spirit playing games. And I asked, should we do something about it? And I was told no. That the people were coming, were learning something, and it wasn't something male of it, so leave them alone. They were having a good time. See, that's why we don't judge. I went, okay. Anybody going to get hurt? No, because this was a non-malevolent spirit who was playing tricks, but the thing that would stay with all of them is they could hear beyond their hearing, and that was worthwhile. Now, I personally prefer not to do that, and that's why I do the testing of the spirit. But if you're having a good time, okay, learning something, it's not, you're safe.
Demonstrate heart housing.
Sure, love to. Everybody put your hand on your heart chakra. Now I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to feel underneath here where your heart is, feel what happens. There is no God. What does it feel like when you say that?
Disturbing.
It's disturbing? Heavy? Heavy? Yeah, how's it feel? Okay? There's your no, okay? Now if you want to know if you've had a bad night and you don't know whether or not, you can heart douse. You do this and say that, and you'll see if it's going to work for you. And if it doesn't happen, don't do it. Your energy is not, it's frazzled. Okay, now try this one. God is infinite and loving. There you go. Yeah. That's how you do it. Isn't that fun and simple? Okay, try the there is no God one first, because we tend to get, if you're checking if you can do it, okay, you'll tend to get a bigger rise out of that because we're more objectionable to it. To just check and see how you're doing. And then you can trust it. The one thing I say to you, if you feel your head going, well, you just stop right there. Because the head thinks in its ego it's right and it's not. And so if you can't clear your energy, sing, dance, tell funny stories and clear your energy, get it up where it doesn't do that. But if you can feel it, it's like this inside thing going on. Like somebody put a bug in your brain, Yeah. And that's how you do it. It's really easy, and you can trust it. But I would tell you what I did about the notepad until you really get used to how your body works and so forth, is write the question down and then heart douse. Okay?